Hi, my name is Jen Leita, and I'm the academic advisor for the Department of Health and Human Development. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about one of our programs in our department, which is Recreation Management and Leadership. And so my goal is to give you an overview of the major, talk a little bit about what you can expect in the student experience from the major, as well as considerations for applying and gaining admission. If you have additional questions, I'd love to meet with you as an individual and talk about specifics with your situation as well. So a little bit about our program and the mission of our Recreation Management and Leadership program. So I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of an overview of this information. Some of the distinctives is that our goal with this program is to develop competent and capable leaders with a passion for both social justice, for serving a wide variety of populations and meeting individual needs, for caring for people in a variety of situations. Also anchoring our recreation management and leadership is a passion for stewardship and sustainability. So kind of an overview of that. You can also see more about our department or our program mission and how it fits into our department mission on our website. So some of the career paths that recreation management and leadership, or RML students, pursue oftentimes after graduating from our program. So we have one specialization designed specifically to support students who want to achieve credentialing to become a recreational therapist. We also have students that are excited about getting involved with organizations such as Outward Bound and doing wilderness therapy. Lots of students that want to go on and pursue becoming a guide or an outdoor adventure leader, or getting involved in ecotourism and sustainable tourism. We have students who pursue futures in land management, in forest service, and getting involved in national and state parks, as well as community parks and recreation organizations. Also, students go on and become involved in directors and leadership positions in YMCA and Boys and Girls Clubs, as well as getting involved in campus recreation, becoming directors of campus recreation at universities and colleges across the country. Students that get involved in becoming directors and leaders at summer camps and outdoor experiences as well. So definitely a whole host of different, and this is just kind of an overview of some of the careers that RML students go on to pursue. So a little bit of information about the RML major and our specializations. So RML students will take a core of courses that all RML students will take, but in addition to that, they will develop they will pursue a specific specialization. So we have 4 specializations that students can choose from that aligns best with their interests and future career goals. So we have outdoor recreation, we have community recreation, therapeutic recreation, and sustainable tourism are our 4 specializations. Generally, students pick one track that supports well with their future career goals and interests, but sometimes students will take courses from within a couple of different specializations. They might focus on a little bit of outdoor, a little bit of community, and a little bit of sustainable tourism. Our therapeutic recreation specialization is a little bit of a different track. Students who are interested in that specialization have some specific areas that they need to dig into, so it doesn't allow for as much overlap as maybe some of our other majors, and that's designed to help support them towards pursuing credentials as a certified therapeutic recreation consultant. So to get their NCTRC certification. So they have some specific needs that have to be met through our program in order to line up for them to pursue that credentialing once they graduate. But the other specializations, there's a little bit of overlap and wiggle room for students, and we encourage them to explore and talk to faculty about what might suit them best. It's also not uncommon that students might start in one specialization, and then as they get experience or hear from other faculty, that at some point they might switch. So there's definitely some room for students to move within each of those specializations as they grow and as they get exposure to the field. So in addition to choosing their specialization, students will also be crafting a support area. And the support area is designed to also help support students in rounding out their interests based upon either pursuing one of Western's many minors on campus. So it's giving concentrated area of study in an area to support their rec coursework. So as I said, students can complete the support area requirement of 25 credits by completing a Western minor that will fulfill the support area requirement, or working in conjunction with faculty and myself to craft a more kind of customized or individualized support area. Sometimes students' interests involve taking courses from across a wide variety of areas and concentrations across Western's campuses. So sometimes students are well served by taking a minor in something like psychology or communications or environmental studies or or environmental sciences or geology based upon their interests. But sometimes it really, I love that students have the flexibility to take courses from across content as well, if that's what better suits their needs. So I might work with students to craft an individual support area, or faculty might work with them to craft an individual support area that might involve taking some classes from leadership studies, some psychology, some environmental studies. So they might be taking them from across areas. And so I love that we have the flexibility to develop these programs to meet student needs. As a part of their support area, they'll work with me to make sure that when we're developing their plan of study, that they're also getting credits that they need to fulfill Western's graduation requirements and earn enough upper division credits, or 300 and 400 level coursework. So part of crafting that support area is also making sure that we're meeting Western's graduation requirements along the way. So that's why we have them take those credits and develop that under advisement. For students who are excited about becoming or interested in possibly becoming an RML major, the process of what that looks like. So we accept students into RML major every year. We take no more than 60 students, and that's a desire to keep the program small and have a lot of faculty interaction. So students will apply for admission into the major, usually fall of either their sophomore or junior years. We have students submit their application by the priority deadline, which is usually in fall, which is usually in November. I think it's usually right around the first Friday of November every year. So we give priority to those students who make that deadline. However, we will also admit students into the major throughout winter quarter if we have space available. So if we have 50 qualified applicants who all earn admission by that fall deadline, that allows us to have maybe 10 more spaces available to students who are still coming into the program or haven't had an opportunity to find us in recreation and find out what our major program is about. And so we're able to fill up those spaces along the way. So yeah, I always encourage students, if you know that rec is for you, definitely submit your materials by that November deadline. However, if you feel like, dang it, I didn't hit that deadline. I came in as a transfer student in winter quarter. Is there still space for me? The answer to that is oftentimes yes. And I encourage students to meet with me, and we'll kind of get that ball rolling and starting the application process for them. The application process, what does that look like? I love that the application process to the rec major is very holistic. We want to get a good sense of who you are and what your passion is for this area, this field of study. And then, so there's an opportunity for us to learn a little bit more about you in a couple of different ways. We ask students to submit kind of a quickly scannable, like a bullet list of general information. And you can find all of the details for our application on our website. So we ask for kind of a bullet list of general information, a little bit about you in that way that's quickly scannable for faculty. And we ask students to write a 2 to 3 page essay, just to, again, get a sense of who you are, what's your interest in the program, what's your background, and just be able to have a chance to share that information with us. Students will also submit transcripts from their Western time at Western, as well as any transfer institutions or running START programs that they might have attended. And so those materials all will get submitted to me. You can email that to me, and I include my email address at the end of the presentation too. So all of those materials get submitted to me. Students, once they've submitted all of their application materials, then they get to have an interview with a rec faculty member. So the process for this looks a little bit different in a remote learning environment. So faculty for this fall quarter of fall of 2020 will be contacting applicants to set up an appointment to do either a phone or a virtual Zoom kind of interview there. And this is just really, again, a chance for faculty to get to know who you are, so that when we're admitting candidates, we want to know that this program is a good fit for you, and that you're a good fit for the program as well. So how does the rec program work? It's a really special program. I love whenever I meet with rec students who are to perform their graduation evaluation. So at the end of their time in the program, I always ask them to share a little bit about what they've loved or what the challenges of the program have been. And across the board, 100%, they all say that they have really loved the phase system and the kind of cohort experience. So students are admitted and move through the rec system as a phase, which is kind of a cohort experience. So students are taking a core of rec courses that are offered in sequence at certain times as a unit. So there'll be certain classes, usually it's a couple classes a quarter, or in each phase, that students are taking as a group. And then there are going to be classes that they take in each phase that are designed to meet their specialization. The phase system has quarters where you're taking, that are blocked out, where you're taking only rec courses, 15 to 18 credits a quarter of rec, and then there are phases in that are kind of scheduled off. And that is designed for students to be continuing to finish out any GURs that they might have remaining, or to complete any minor or support area coursework, or meet additional Western graduation requirements as well. So there's time that's devoted specifically to rec, and then time that's allowed for students to be able to dig into their support area coursework as well. As students are working through those rec phases as a unit, they always remark on really loving and appreciating that built-in support system, that they have students that they are always able to collaborate with and be able to work well together with. And that oftentimes they'll say that this becomes their peer group outside of classes, because they're united by, like, hey, we're all excited about the same stuff. So it's a great way for students who have maybe felt like they have struggled to connect in some of their GURs, or who are new coming to Western and are transferring in, to really feel like a part of a community. And so that phase or cohort system is a really special experience socially for our students, as well as that educationally, and having an academic support system around them. How the phase system works is that students generally apply for admission into the rec major in fall of either their traditional sophomore or junior year. And again, that depends on kind of each individual's kind of plan of study and what best meets their needs. And if you have questions about, hey, should I be applying to rec now, or am I better served waiting till later, I definitely would welcome the opportunity to talk with you individually. I'm available for phone and Zoom advising in our remote learning environment, or when we're back to face-to-face. I would love to have a conversation with you in my office to be able to make sure that we're meeting these timelines and keeping you on track for graduating in a time frame that you feel comfortable with. So generally, students apply for rec in fall of their sophomore or junior year. Usually they take a course Rec 201 kind of concurrently along with that application time. And this is a chance to give them exposure and understanding to the field, and kind of usually it's an affirmation of, yeah, this is a space I want to be. Students who are, if they're unable to take Rec 201 in the fall, they're also able to take that class in winter prior to beginning their official start of the major. So there's a lot of flexibility to meet students' needs on that front. So in fall of their sophomore or junior year, they apply, they take Rec 201. In winter, usually they'll have been told if they're admitted to the program at that time. And in that winter quarter that haven't officially started the major yet, this is a time for them to complete any remaining GURs, or to begin work on their minor or support area at that time. And then spring of their kind of sophomore or junior year is when they begin phase 1 of their rec coursework. So this is really the true establishment of their phase cohort, where they start to work through specifically getting access to the other 200 and 300 level rec coursework. Then in fall of either their junior or senior year, they have a break from their rec phase. And I'll show you kind of the plan of study in like a graphic here in just a sec. So in that fall, they're not taking specifically rec coursework at that time. That's time that's devoted to help them fulfill their support area or work on their minor. They're, with the exception of one of our support areas, therapeutic rec, they do have some specific mandatory coursework in that fall. So therapeutic rec students have a slightly different track in order to, again, help them meet their credentialing requirements. So TR students or therapeutic rec students do have 2 rec classes in the fall that they'll take in addition to working on their support area as well. In winter, though, that's when we resume phase 2 coursework, where students are working through 300 level coursework at that time. Then spring is another off time in the phase where they're working on minor and support area. I'm definitely wanting to finish out any remaining GURs. Usually I like to have those done prior to that, but this is a time where we can address those needs as well. Hope this is our good time for making sure that we're meeting all of Western's graduation guidelines as well. Students usually meet with me in that spring to make sure that we're on track for that. So prior to spring registration is double checking all of those graduation requirements and trying to knock out any remaining requirements in that spring quarter. In summer of the junior or senior year is phase 3, which is where students are engaging in their internships. And faculty will work with you during that winter quarter to start developing connections and explore opportunities for completing their summer internship. Then students will come back in the fall of their senior year or super senior year, as it were, for some students, they'll come back and finish out their remaining coursework in that fall. I really think this is a special approach to this scheduling where we have students that are taking dedicated rec coursework and then having time to be digging into support area concentrations and then back to dedicated rec coursework and then having this summer internship and then coming back in this fall and having this opportunity to apply what I've experienced. So grounding us first and educating us in principles of program design and development and implementation and other concerns, then getting a chance to have hands-on doing and then coming back and being able to debrief and say, what have I learned based upon the experiences that I've had, being able to apply this 400 level coursework at a deeper level. I think that's a really neat part of the rec major. So fall, they do their phase 4 rec coursework, and then most students, or many students, are able to graduate after fall quarter. And again, this can be individual for students if they have any other minor coursework that they're completing. If they came to us as a sophomore, then maybe it's not uncommon for students to finish out any remaining kind of Western grad requirements or overall credit accumulation in winter. But oftentimes those students will graduate after fall quarter. So kind of an overview here of how does that work, and you'll see this material on our website as well. It's you'll be able to download this PDF as well. Just kind of giving an overview of, hey, how does that work? Kind of what classes are you specifically taking? So you'll see in our rec phases which classes there are usually about 2 to 3 classes every quarter that the entire phase is taking and going through together, and then they'll see that there are different courses that are broken down by specialization. The neat thing is, for students that are interested and have an overlap in maybe across specializations, they're like, I like outdoor, but also I like community, but I also like the sustainable tourism piece. Having those kind of rec electives allows them some space to be able to kind of get a little bit of information in multiple areas. So if like in spring of phase 1, if they're taking intro to tourism, and then in winter in phase 2, they are maybe they're taking outdoor program development. So this allows a lot of that flexibility for students to get a little bit of exposure to a couple of different specializations if that best suits their needs. Again, therapeutic rec are a bit of a special case. They have some different requirements associated with that program, and you can see kind of where they have their specialty therapeutic rec courses built in. But kind of a general overview, kind of a visualization of how students tend to progress and what courses they're taking at which time. Again, these courses happen in sequence, so they have to be taken during the quarters that they're offered in sequence. So some students will ask, well, can I see that there's these off times. Can I take rec classes during that time and move through the major at a faster pace? No. As a phase-based or cohort-based system, the courses are only offered in those specific quarters, and they have to be taken at that specific time. So while it's not uncommon for students to maybe have a lighter credit load, especially if they're coming to the major later in their, and they're a high credit junior, it's sometimes an opportunity where students will actually find that they can take a quarter completely off from Western. That will sometimes happen, but generally we can't move through the major at a faster pace. This is kind of the track that we're on. We can have lighter credit loads or potentially an off time, but we can't really accelerate the pace at which students move through the major. Some of the really cool things that make the RML major distinct or different from maybe some other majors on campus or from some other programs that you might see is really that phase system. That's having that supportive cohort experience has been really, really valuable for our students. And again, almost every major that comes through my door really remarks on that, and of really appreciating that built-in support system of kind of shared academic experience, that you have a study group people built into your program, or you just know that you'll be able to work with people on a group project, that these are familiar faces. You're not just kind of turning to somebody random in class and saying, hey, do you want to work together? But you actually have experience working together already, and that just really having a built-in support group and a friend network. I've just heard over and over again, I had a conversation with a couple of students that are I feel like I really didn't have a close friend network in the rest of my time at Western, and then I got into the major and I was around other people who were excited about the same things I'm excited about, and I really felt like I started to make deep, long-lasting friendships in my phase. So I think that's been is a really special and unique circumstance or situation that our majors experience. The fact that the phase system allows for focused time to work on major coursework and additional time to focus in areas of other student interests and digging into, environmental science or getting exposure into psychology or sociology or communication or leadership or, marine biology. I mean, that there's this opportunity built within to really customize students' learning experience. We have our core of rec program, and within that there's an opportunity to meet individual students' needs and interests. I think that's really a cool part and a special part of the rec major. One of the neat parts of the rec major is also that they take trips. I mean, legit fun awesome trips as a group with faculty. So they get to take excursions, and that's definitely not an experience that most students in other majors get on campus. So that's been one of the sad or hard parts about working in our remote environment is having to table those experiences that are normally an integrated part of our major. And so we are we're looking forward to the times when we can resume those excursions, and would expect to be able to have those as our, as our COVID-19 circumstances change. So we are an accredited program. We are a COPERT accredited program as well. So we're a nationally accredited, recognized program for recreation. And the goal in our program is to develop qualified leaders in recreation. So if you look at our course overview, there's a focus on program design and implementation and thoughtful leadership and how to manage and inspire and lead people effectively, and targeting, and how do we make sure that we're bringing services to perhaps marginalized populations. How can we recognize what a marginalized population is and deliver those services? So a strong social justice component, a strong desire to serve people, and people of all abilities and all backgrounds, and how to lead effectively. So this is really, really kind of a special emphasis in our recreation management and leadership major. So some questions that students often ask about the RML major. So sometimes folks that are coming in with a desire and a passion for outdoor rec will ask, can I earn my wilderness first responder certification here in Western? As a part of our program, we do not have that endorsement. However, for students that do want to pursue their wilderness first responder certification, they can earn that, and then we can oftentimes apply the credits for that. So if that's something that you're wanting to pursue, I would say definitely check in with faculty, and we want to facilitate an opportunity for you to be able to make that happen. It's just not an endorsement that we are able to offer as a part of our, housed in our Western environment. Another question that I sometimes have students ask is that, hey, I don't see any classes focused on teaching me specific outdoor skills. Why? Can I get that? Our program is definitely more of a leadership based. We care about, certainly we definitely have students that go on to be outdoor guides and lead outdoor wilderness experiences. So rock climbing, kayaking, rafting, mountaineering, absolutely. Our program isn't designed to focus specifically on teaching you those specific outdoor skills. We can connect you with resources, and we can plug you into those opportunities. And I would encourage you to check in with faculty about that. We just aren't necessarily teaching that as a part of our core curriculum. Our curriculum is focused more on kind of the more management program leadership, and with the goal of saying hey, we want to make sure that you're equipped not only to lead those guiding programs, but to eventually go on to be able to run those businesses and be able to direct those programs, to be able to manage and budget. So we're teaching a lot of those skill sets along the way, as opposed to just kind of the nuts and bolts of kind of more of a PE style class. So we definitely want to equip you, and if this is something where I want to grow these skill sets, and then I would say check in with our faculty. We can definitely plug you into some places to have those opportunities. But our major is focused a little bit more kind of more big picture and leadership based. So another question that I see is, or I get asked by students is, hey, what do I take during those open quarters in the phase system? And that's where I hope that I want to be accessible and available to students. So faculty are great about encouraging students to connect with me, and I reach out to students as well to make sure that we're using those times thoughtfully. Each student is really different, and I want to be able to meet your needs as an individual. So I'll look at your academic history. We'll check out we'll talk about your future career goals. I want to hear what faculty have been sharing with you and encouraging you to explore to be able to meet your needs and individual interests. We'll talk minor options, but during this time, we'll plan strategically for what you should be taking during those off quarters. Those off quarters from phase coursework, we want to make sure that we have a plan for meeting those minor requirements, and that might mean also communicating with one of the minor advisors on campus. We'll also talk about what we need to be taking in order to keep you on track for meeting Western's graduation requirements as well. Western has some specific requirements that we need to respect as well. Western grads must earn 180 credits total if in their time across college experience. So we need to make sure that we're earning credits to apply towards that 180 credit minimum. Western also has a requirement that students need to receive 60 credits of upper division coursework. Upper division credits are coursework in 300 and 400 level courses. So within the rec major, we have a built-in core of about, I believe, 44 upper division credits within the major. So that means that students have to work with me under advisement to achieve the remaining 16 credits of upper division coursework that they'll need. Oftentimes this is fulfilled in the pursuit of their support area, but sometimes we need to supplement that, and so I'm able to advise them on some upper level or upper division courses that they might consider. So those off or open quarters in the phase system are where we're working on those things. We're completing GURs, we are fulfilling support area requirements, we're getting the credits and the upper division credits that we need in order to meet Western's graduation eligibility guidelines. Some students will find that they have fulfilled their support area. It's not uncommon in that spring between phase 2 and phase 3 for our seniors in particular to have fulfilled all their requirements. Their support area is completed. They have the upper division credits, or they will have upon completion of phase 4 coursework, they'll have the upper division credits that they need. And so sometimes students are able to take that quarter off entirely, which I'm happy to be able to double check and facilitate for them. And so definitely this is times where we want to be really thoughtful in helping prepare you for success, and we want to think kind of long-term big picture. And so we do yearly planning, and we'll check in with you about how you're tracking in terms of meeting graduation requirements. Another question that I'll get is, because students take an internship over the summer prior to their last quarter of phase 4 coursework, is how does financial aid apply to that? Oftentimes, and I encourage students to check in with financial advising about their specific financial aid package, and then work out the nuts and bolts. But generally, financial aid is often distributed throughout the 3 quarters of the academic year, so fall, winter, spring. Oftentimes, financial aid will apply to helping pay for summer tuition, but it involves making sure that fall that we're communicating with the financial aid department. Usually that means it's just forward thinking. It's saying, if we're going to be taking coursework in the summer, and summer internship, you will register for credits, which means that you do pay tuition for summer internship credits that you take. 12 credits is considered a full-time load in the summer quarter, and so you'll be paying for that, for those 12 credits that you're taking that summer when you're doing your internship. So for students who need to have financial aid apply towards those, you just need to make sure that you're contacting the financial aid office early. And what usually happens is they reallocate how your payments are distributed. So instead of distributing your payments just across fall, winter, and spring quarter, they'll change how those payments are distributed to go across fall, winter, spring, and summer quarter. But again, it does take a little bit of foreplanning. So if you haven't thought about that prior to just, summer quarter you get to register, that can be problematic. So I encourage you to be in communication with my aid office frequently and early about how to make sure that that you're protected and have the resources that you need. I hope this has been helpful of just sharing kind of an overview of our program. I definitely would encourage you to check out our website for detailed information. You can find links to specifics of each specialization, and say, if you're like, I don't really know, can I just get some more information? This is a great place to start to get those resources. Also, you'll find our application material or major application materials online. So definitely read through or check out some of the resources that are available there. And then if you've got specific questions for me, I would love to meet with you and address those as needed. So you can email me when we return to face-to-face, whenever that is. I encourage students to come by my office, which is in Carver 201A. In our Carver Academic Facility. I'm also available in our remote learning environments for either phone or virtual advising sessions through Zoom, where students can schedule an appointment with me at mykalendley.com. So I look forward to meeting you all soon and being able to work with you, and look forward to answering any questions that you might have about the RML major. Take care.